My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
We acknowledge the traditional owners of country throughout Australia and recognise their continuing connection to land, waters and culture. We pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. Welcome to This Song Is Yours, a music podcast where we chat to a new guest each week, talk about their life and creative endeavours, and talk to them about some of the music they love. Our show works by chatting to our guests about music, their songwriting techniques, and occasionally getting them to make you a playlist of the songs they love. Welcome to episode 168. I'm your host, Simon Fink. Our guest today is Muna. The indie pop trio from Los Angeles are marking a welcome return later this week with their third studio record, entitled Muna. In today's episode, we're speaking with Katie, Naomi and Joe about the band's brand new record, the evolution of their sound, and we discuss their boss, Phoebe Bridgers. Here we go. Our guests today are an indie pop trio based in Los Angeles, California. Having formed in college in 2013 and releasing 2 studio records, they marked their return last September with the release of Silk Chiffon featuring Phoebe Bridgers. This Friday, they return with their brilliant self-titled third record, Muna. Please welcome to This Song Is Yours, Katie, Naomi and Joe from Muna. Hello, how are we all?
Wonderful.
Yeah, we're doing good.
We're doing good. We're not great at deciding who's going to talk first via eye contact through the screen, but we're good and we're happy to be here.
I'm very glad you're here. And we usually get maybe 1 or 2 people from the band. It's rare that we get the whole. So I feel very lucky, very blessed that we've got the whole band here today.
We do every interview with the 3 of us, and it leads to probably the most chaotic interviews in the history of bands. So sorry in advance, but this is what you get.
No apologies needed. I would rather take chaotic and fun over the other. So no, I'm in. Yeah. I'm in for the ride.
Cool.
It is a very exciting week for the band. The new self-titled record is coming out this Friday, and I know that there's a lot of fans that are excited about this. I imagine that you're excited about it coming out. So firstly, congratulations.
Thank you so much. We feel really good. We're so lucky to have been a band for as long as we have, and to have sort of experienced very just linear growth in a way that feels really natural and really good for us. And we feel like we've been allowed to grow in front of our fans as people and as musicians. And yeah, we're just happy for everyone to still be sticking around, and hi to everyone who's new.
I think that the growth of the band and the exposure of the band has definitely skyrocketed in the last 12 to 18 to 24 months. I do want to talk about the new record, but firstly, there's one other little congratulations I want to give to the 3 of you. I think unless there's a dark horse later in the year, I think it has to be bestowed upon you. The best first verse in any song this year goes to Anything But Me, because that first verse, and Liz and I, who we unfortunately had to let go in the call, which we've discussed it. I hope you don't mind. I'm going to recite your lyrics to you, so I apologize, because I imagine it's very frustrating when people do this.
No,
but you're going to say that I'm on a high horse. I think that my horse is regular size. Do you think that maybe you're on a pony going in circles on a carousel ride? Has to be hands down best first verse of this year. Easy.
Thank you so much. I also I don't know if you realize this, but I like that you said that it's the best verse of this year, unless there's a dark horse. to come in and upend my regular sized horse. That it actually is the rule. Dark horse trumps regular sized horse.
I did not even think about the equestrian nature of my wording with that, but that's a very good point.
Your subconscious was collaborating.
Exactly. When you are, I guess, using, because there is, I find, some dark humor throughout the band's music and throughout the lyrics. We recently spoke to someone else who I believe is in the same universe as yourselves. We recently had Christian Lee Hudson on, and we were talking about using dark comedy in lyrics and finding that balance between, having a really good lyric versus something that might be too jokey or something that's not, like, that doesn't quite land as well. And I was wondering, for you guys, where do you find that balance?
Yeah. I will try not to answer every question myself, but I recently listened to Christian's record, and he's so great. And I think there's a line on his record about, like, first it was funny, then it is, and then it isn't. Or like first it wasn't funny, then it is, and then it isn't. And it's like, I think that, it's interesting because when there's humor in our songs, there's always a little bit of like, something very like serious underneath. Like even with Number One Fan, like the opening line of that song being like, nobody likes me and I'm going to die alone. It's like, I think that we over time have really tried to get more of like just the way that we talk and the way that we are like into our music. We do use humor a lot as a band, like, and just as individuals to like keep it moving. And I think I've tried to, like specifically with Anything But Me, that verse, that was just something that that was like a little joke with myself that helped me. Like I had that kind of rattling in my head for a while of like, I don't know, sometimes I'm afraid to like make choices that I think are going to disappoint other people, or I'm afraid that people are going to think that I like think too highly of myself if I'm putting myself first. And I've just kind of like patted myself on the back and been like, I have a regular, it's like, I'm right sizing is like what I call it. So right sizing ended up being like regular sized horse. And yeah, I think we've had a rule with this album of like, if something like makes us laugh, that's a worthy, emotional affect to put on a record just as much as if something makes us cry,
Yeah, definitely. It is it's an incredible verse. There are touches of the humor throughout the record. And moving on to the record, it is the third studio record from yourselves. I'm wondering, and maybe if we'll go around the room, we'll get everyone's kind of take on it. Is there a ritual or like a tradition that the band has when releasing a new record?
No, actually, you know what? It's different because we don't really drink, but to be honest, we've gotten absolutely blasted out of our minds, I would say most of the time. But, I think we deserve to go out and have a nice meal. I think that's how we celebrate like these days. And who knows, maybe we'll get blasted at one point, but the ritual of food, I think, is Muna at its core, and us absolutely going hard. Maybe getting blasted by some delicious food is actually the correct way to say it now.
I can appreciate that, of course. Naomi, what about yourself?
Oh, their headphones died.
Yeah. I want to know what you were going to say. Okay. Ritual when we finish the album. I mean, like, I guess the other thing I can contribute to it is like, it seems to be a ritual. Oh, Coca-Cola. Naomi's going to say that we like to drink Coca-Cola now. Yes, we do. And it's a very wild move when we order a Coke, and then we make a lot of Coke jokes after when we're drinking Coca-Cola. And and I actually do feel hungover if I like drink a Coca-Cola and I stay out after like 1 a.m. That's enough to do it for me at this point in my life. I seem to like need to like write another pop song like as soon as we're done with an album. As soon as we've like turned something in and I don't have like the opportunity to like get it on this album, but it's like the pressure is kind of off, and then I like want to write another song. And that seems to be a bit of a trend because I did that with Saves the World and Silk Chiffon. So
that's what I was going to bring up. I did hear that pretty much once Saves the World had come out that you, I don't know the exact time frame, but pretty much jumped straight into Silk Chiffon, which ended up being one of the biggest lead-in singles for an album, and I think one of the biggest singles from last year. Yeah. Was there a difference, I guess, between albums? Obviously, there's a lot of growth. I think that the second album you released, Saves the World, definitely put more in the mainstream consciousness. Was there a difference this time around jumping straight into the songwriting process?
I think that it's funny because, like, I don't know, I don't really like conceptualize too much of like groups of songs as being part of an album. Although we are very lucky in that, like, I feel like we're a band where we have fans who like will give their time to just like taking in a whole album of ours. Like they're going to listen to it as an album. And I think what's interesting is like, I don't know, it just gives you the opportunity as a songwriter. Like Saves the World was from my mid-20s where like I think all of us, and we're all very similar in age, like it was just an intense time. And it's funny when I say that because obviously that period of time was actually pre-pandemic, but I was just already going through an intense time, and that record was very heavy. And I feel like maybe and it was also a time when like I wasn't dating. I was doing a lot of like self-reflection and like just looking at patterns in my life, and I don't know, trying to make some like internal changes. And I think there was a sense of like a weight being lifted when that record came out. But then the story gets complicated because it's like we were in kind of a space where there was some like levity and joy. We were working on Silk Chiffon. But then like, I don't know, the pandemic happened and we got dropped from RCA, and we had to have like a bunch of conversations on like if we wanted to keep moving forward with this project, and if we were all fulfilled as individuals, and like what does our creative process look like if we're gonna like move forward. And but I think that like we wouldn't maybe have been able to like rise to meet that challenge if we hadn't already been through everything that we've been through as a band. And like, and honestly, if we hadn't done like some of that personal work that we did, like that was reflected on Saves the World. So it was different just because like we are different and we've had the opportunity to grow up like in this band. And I think we're definitely interested in like, I don't know, having some fun. And I think that was reflected also in like the songwriting process.
100%. Now, with the new record that is coming out, it is sonically, it's beautiful. Naomi, I know that you had a hand in the production of this, and I do want to get into more specific producer kind of questions in a minute, but the record kind of goes from there's pop, there's dance, there's a little bit of like, I don't want to say country, but, you know, like a bit more, I know the Chicks was a reference for yourselves, influences for this record, because I got a very strong early 2000s kind of pop rock vibe from a lot of the songs on this record. The Anything But Me video, I got a very strong, and this is meant as a compliment, I got a very strong The Cause, Breathless. I don't know if you remember that video, but similar kind of vibes I got from that. So yeah, for yourselves, what was influencing this record this time around, and what you were kind of listening to?
I mean, I think the thing that's fun about the record, at least for us, and I guess like just for hopefully for people who are listening to it, is that it is kind of like sprawling, I guess is like a nice word to use in terms of like where it goes sonically. And I think that's just reflective of like all of our tastes mashed together into like this project, and like just making choices that appeal to all of us and references that appeal to everyone. And I think that is just like something that, yeah, especially in this like era of music consumption, is pretty common, like in the sense of like having a bunch of different influences and listening to a ton of different stuff. But yeah, you're pretty dead on with a lot of those inspirations. I think like we all have very different tastes from each other in certain ways, but like we can all come together and agree like when a song is like an amazing song, like we can all just sort of like see eye to eye on that. And I think we just try to replicate that in the music that we make, and not try to limit ourselves to like what we think people expect from us sonically. So I think, yeah, we just were like kind of having fun.
Was that the same for you as well, Joe?
I mean, I think that those references are always a part of the canon. I mean, I just think we all listen to like different things, but certain songs I think will get on a tangent, like with what we're referencing and what we are talking about. You know, like a song like Anything But Me, we're talking about Shania Twain. We're talking about the Dixie, or now just the Chicks. But I think it is kind of song specific, and I think we all do just have super varying tastes.
Yeah, of course. Katie, I interrupted you before. What were you going to say?
I was going to say something along the lines of like, this album does like it kind of explodes in a lot of different directions, but I do think that there's maybe like these two worlds that I picture, and one of them being kind of like Lilith Fair core. Like we're very into like the women, like singer-songwriter, yeah, like all the bands that they've mentioned, but this feeling of like leaning into like all three of us on guitar, like having some string moments, and just like leaning into like, I don't know, like.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
This season, Instacart has your back to school. As in, they've got your back to school lunch favorites like snack packs and fresh fruit. And they've got your back to school supplies like backpacks, binders, and pencils. And they've got your back when your kid casually tells you they have a huge school project due tomorrow. Let's face it, we were all that kid. So first, call your parents to say I'm sorry, and then download the Instacart app to get delivery in as fast as 30 minutes all school year long. Get a $0 delivery fee with your first 3 orders while supplies last. Minimum $10 an order. Additional terms apply.
Like the songwriter of it all, and pursuing songs that I wrote on acoustic, which we've always done like as Muna, but I think maybe there's more of that on this album. And then like the other side being like embracing like the really like 90s boy band, like Max Martin of it all, and just like giving Naomi and Joe like space to flex as producers. I see that with like What I Want and No Idea, and even with Solid, although that's like a little more of an 80s flex, but yeah, it's like we just didn't really care. Like we weren't worrying about making it make sense, because it's like we like all these things in our lives, so we can reflect that on the album.
100%. I feel, what track was it? It was Home by Now, which I thought kind of encapsulated all of them. That track seemed to bring together some of those driving beats, but it had the acoustic guitars behind it. It had, both Robin and Shania at the party, which is probably a horrible reference. But
it's amazing.
Yeah, when you're when you're trying to build that, I guess, is that just organically kind of what comes out? Is it a thing that you sit down and it's very premeditated, or it just is what the band produces from how the what's the word I'm looking for? Oh my God, I'm having a mental blank. How the three of you work together. I know that there is a word for it. I just am struggling.
I think it just depends on the song somewhat, how like it all goes down. I mean, like there are certain songs where it will be clear from the jump. A lot of times we'll actually have like a conversation as to how to approach a song prior to even like making choices about it. Like, what if we did this? And then like have like a verbal pitch for it. And then if like people aren't sure how they feel about it, we'll just try it and see like if it makes more sense hearing it than talking about it. But a lot of the times I feel like we'll have the sketch of a song and then be like, okay, like it's pretty clear now that this is a song that we want on the album, that we want to keep, that is of value to us and worth working on. So we discuss like how we approach it going forward. And then I think sometimes like the production choices or the arrangement choices that we make will influence like more of the songwriting. Like I think like there are certain songs on the record that like weren't finished when we started them. And then it becomes like this sort of circular, endless process where like how the beats shaping up might influence like how Katie writes a bridge, or like how Katie writes like a C-section for a song, like an outro part or something. And then like, we just all inspire each other to like go harder and like achieve the song's full potential. And I think we're willing to try different stuff. And I think it's hard sometimes like to not have like an extreme reaction, either negative or positive, to like a concept or an idea or a part. I think that's like can be kind of hard for all of us. But I think we've gotten pretty good at communicating internally and like allowing everyone their space and time to like do what they do creatively the best, and also being open to things being a conversation. It's very collaborative.
Of course. The band I know that obviously, as we've discussed, pandemic has kind of kept everyone inside. I know that you were able to go back on tour, I think end of last year, start of this year. You've toured with people like Casey Musgraves, I believe King Princess as well. Firstly, what was it like after kind of being stuck inside, going through, as you mentioned before, Katie, the ordeal of not sure where the band was going and changing labels, everything like that? How is it to kind of get back out there and play music and see, I imagine, a much larger fan base now with the last record and songs that have come out? What was it like playing those shows?
I can answer. I mean, I think it's always, I can always answer. I mean, I think it's just humbling to be able to play shows with people, and also just after the pandemic, know that there's a reason that you're, doing this, because it can be so, especially during that time, it was so isolating, and being able to actually connect with the people who are listening to your music makes it all worth it. I'm just excited to go and play some headline shows and do a tour that, plays these songs, and for people to actually like hear these songs and experience them live.
Yeah, of course. We recently had the lovely Charli Hickey on the show, who is a Saddest Factory label mate of yours. And if nothing more than trying to manifest it into being, we pitched to him doing a Saddest Factory touring review show where basically all the Saddest Factory acts come down to Australia and do like a touring mini fest. Could Charli and I interest you in this?
Absolutely. I mean, honestly, anything to get us to Australia. We want to meet our Australian fans so badly and play shows. Like, one of the things we were supposed to do before the pandemic was come and play Splendor in the Grass. So, like, we owe y'all a trip. And if Saddest wants to sort that, then we would be so happy.
We're still working through it, and we'll still get a few other acts to kind of sign up, and then
once you have the details sorted,
we'll take all of this to the boss.
Yeah, I know Sloppy Jane's band is like 20 musicians. So once you guys figure out what the logistics for that, then
that might be the most difficult logistical part of it, but we'll still try.
It will be worth it. They're amazing guys.
Oh, would you be happy to talk about the playlist that the band sent through today?
Yeah, def.
Yeah, can you remind us of what it was?
Of course, I was going to ask a few questions about some of the songs.
Please do.
The songs. I'll quickly read out the songs and then I'll go to the questions. We had Uppercut by Lou Roy, Constant Repeat by Charli XCX, Up at Night by Kalani, Sidelines by the Factory boss Miss Phoebe Bridgers, and All the Good Times by Angel Olsen. So some incredible tracks. One of the songs you've picked is Constant Repeat by Charli XCX off the her incredible Crash record, which came out this year. What was it that you love about this song, and why did this song end up on the playlist?
I would say we love everything that Charli kind of does. We got to see her play in LA, and I think she's kind of just like the epitome of what a pop star should be and can do. Her performance was just incredible, and I think the reason we put the song is it is on constant repeat. Like, it is one of those songs that's super catchy, and the production is so cool, and we just love her and love the song.
Crash is such an incredible album, like top to bottom, truly like the work of a very prolific artist. And I feel like she has been so like exploratory in terms of like the genres that she's like, made music in this style of, and also like that she's had a hand in inventing literally and popularizing. She's just the GOAT. Like, yeah, we love Charli, and I think Crash is so, so, so good and so like well thought out. And yeah, so many great songs on that. And seeing her live was truly so amazing. I mean, she danced the entire time for like an hour and a half, like as a physical feat. That's like unbelievable. It was just a really fun show. And yeah, we love her. Love that album. Such a big fan of hers.
It is a great album. I think, what's the track? Yuck is another great track from that record.
Yeah, that's like such a big radio pop sounding track to me. I mean, she makes such bangers. Yeah, all her stuff it bangs so hard.
The other track that I was going to ask about was the mentioned your boss, your label head, Miss Phoebe Bridgers with Sidelines, which is a new track that's only come out recently. What was it about this song? And are you contractually obligated to put this on each playlist that you have to write?
I like wish that I could say yes, but I don't want. I genuinely do think it's a good song. I don't even want to joke about it. She is so talented. I think that song is just like in terms of her like. Her like instrumental choices, I think it is an interesting song. It just feels a little more synthy than like some of the stuff that she's done in the past. And I'm excited for Conversations with Friends. Shout out to Sally Rooney. I know that song was made for that show. So yeah, just super exciting and just like a nice love song. And yeah, we're obviously such big fans of hers, and we are contractually obligated to include her in this playlist.
It is a beautiful song, and it is, incredible track. Muna, Katie, Naomi, and Joe, thank you very much for your time today and for being on the podcast. The new record, the self-titled record from yourselves, is out this week. It is incredible. We'll put it in the link to the show notes. But yeah, thank you again for coming onto the podcast.
It's our pleasure.
Thank you so much for having us. It was really nice talking to you.
Yeah, thanks so much.
And that's our show. A massive thank you to Muna for their time. Their self-titled third record is out this Friday, and we've left links in the show notes if you'd like to buy or pre-order the record. We also want to give a huge shout out to Liz at PIAS Australia for helping out with today's interview. If you like this show, please subscribe wherever you get your pods and stay up to date when new episodes are released. We release new shows each Wednesday and Friday morning. We now have a Patreon, which you can find within the show notes of this episode. You can follow the playlist profile on Spotify, and you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Until next week, cheers.
This podcast is brought to you by eHarmony, the dating app to find someone you can be yourself with. Why doesn't eHarmony allow copy and paste in first messages? Because you are unique, and your conversations should reflect that. eHarmony wants you to find someone who will get you. How are you going to know who gets you? If people send you the same generic conversation starters they message everyone else. Conversations that actually help you get to know each other. Imagine that. Get who gets you on eHarmony. Sign up today.